People often confuse Slovenia and Slovakia, leading to some very embarrassing situations, which I'll get to in a minute. But first, why all this confusion? Well, not only do the countries have similar names in English, the names of the countries and languages in the respective languages are almost identical. And I often have to think twice when I say them, especially the language. In Slovak, Slovakia is called Slovensko, while Slovenia is called Slovinsko. As for the language, Slovak is Slovenčina, and Slovene is Slovinčina. As you see, only the E changes to an I. In Slovene, the names of the countries are sufficiently different. Slovačka for Slovakia and Slovenia. But the Slovak language is Slovaština, and Slovene is Slovenština. Both countries were part of another country in recent history. Slovakia used to be part of Czechoslovakia, and Slovenia was part of Yugoslavia. Both are now members of the EU. But despite the similarities, these two languages belong to different branches of the Slavic language family. Slovak is in the West Slavic group, while Slovene belongs to the South Slavic group. If we look at this language tree diagram of Slavic languages, then naturally we might expect Slovene to be closer to Croatian than Slovak. Before diving into a comparison of Slovene with both Croatian and Slovak to find out if this is the case, I will tell you about some embarrassing mishaps and then introduce the three languages and countries. Don't worry, even if you don't know any Slavic languages, you can follow the content and it could open the door to you for exploring this important and fascinating language family. In 1999, when George Bush was answering a question from a Slovak journalist, he said, "The only thing I know about Slovakia is what I learned firsthand from your foreign minister who came to Texas." Bush had not in fact met the foreign minister of Slovakia, but rather the then Prime Minister of Slovenia. Next, in December 2003, the then Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi introduced the leader of Slovenia with the words, "I'm very happy to be here today with the Prime Minister of Slovakia." And finally, one more, but there are many others. When Slovakia won the ice hockey game against Italy at the International Ice Hockey Federation World Championships in 2017, the organizer played the national anthem of Slovenia. Now let's take a brief look at these countries and their languages. Slovenia is a gem often overlooked by travelers. This small yet diverse country is bordered by Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia, offering a unique blend of alpine landscapes, Mediterranean coastline, and lush forests. As a South Slavic language, Slovene is spoken by about 2.5 million people, primarily in Slovenia. What sets Slovene apart is its retention of archaic features from Proto-Slavic, making it a fascinating study for linguists. It is one of the few languages that still uses dual grammatical number, which refers to exactly two people or things, a feature other Slavic languages have lost over time. From being part of the Roman Empire to experiencing medieval rule under the Habsburgs and later inclusion in Yugoslavia, these influences have left a lasting impact on the Slovene language and culture. Since gaining independence in 1991, Slovenia has rapidly developed, joining the European Union in 2004 and becoming a modern, vibrant nation. Next, bordered by Poland, Ukraine, Hungary, and Austria, and the Czech Republic. Slovakia boasts a diverse landscape that includes the towering Tatra Mountains, verdant forests, and historical castles perched on hilltops. In fact, Slovakia has more castles per capita than any other country in the world. This landlocked nation is renowned for its medieval towns, vibrant folk traditions, and the charming capital city of Bratislava, situated along the Danube River. The Slovak language has close ties to Czech, Polish, and Sorbian, reflecting the interconnected histories and cultures of Central Europe. Spoken by around 5 million people, primarily in Slovakia. Slovak stands out for its rich phonetic system, which gives it a distinct melodic quality. From the great Moravian Empire in the 9th century to centuries under Hungarian and Austro-Hungarian rule, Slovakia has experienced a tapestry of cultural influences. The country's struggle for national identity culminated in the peaceful dissolution of Czechoslovakia in 1993, resulting in the establishment of Slovakia as an independent nation. Croatia, with its stunning Adriatic coast, historic towns, and vibrant culture, is a jewel in southeastern Europe. From the ancient Roman ruins in Pula and the breathtaking beauty of Plitvice lakes, Croatia offers a rich tapestry of historical and natural wonders. The Croatian language, or Hrvatski, like its neighbor Slovene, is a South Slavic language. It is the official language of Croatia and one of the official languages of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and a recognized minority language in several neighboring countries. Spoken by about 6.4 million people, Croatian is significant in the Balkans and the Croatian communities worldwide. Croatian dialects such as Shtokavian, Kajkavian, and Chajkavian add to its linguistic richness. The language's history is marked by influences from Latin, Italian, Greek, and Hungarian due to Croatia's varied historical interactions. Croatia also gained independence in 1991 upon the breakup of the former Yugoslavia. Now let's dive right into the analysis of sentences in these three languages taken from the Ling app. This type of comparison reveals a wealth of information about the lexical and grammatical similarities and differences.
Pouk. Danas nimamo poukan.
Nastava. Danas nemamo nastavu.
Hodina. Dnes nemáme vyučovanie.
For today, danes in Slovenian and danas in Croatian sound more similar than dnes in Slovak. For we don't have nimamo in Slovenian and nemamo in Croatian are more similar. For classes, all three terms are related to instruction, but from different roots. In Slovak, hodina literally means hour. However, it is commonly used in the context of a class period or lesson in educational settings.
Danas nimamo poukan.
Danas nemamo nastavu.
Dnes nemáme vyučovanie.
Začetin. Pouk nemškega jezika se začne danas.
Početi.
Nastava njemačkog jezika počinje danas.
Začať. Hodiny nemčiny začínajú dnes.
Here for class, we have the Slovak
Hodina.
and as mentioned before,
Pouk.
is more contextually similar to
Nastava.
in Croatian, since hodina can mean hour. For German, all three use the genitive case to denote German language class, but the Slovene and Croatian forms are more similar. As for starts, as seen here, the Slovene infinitive form for to start shares characteristics of both Croatian and Slovak.
Pouk nemškega jezika se začne danas.
Nastava njemačkog jezika počinje danas.
Hodiny nemčiny začínajú dnes.
Končatin.
Pouk japonskega jezika se konča ob 4 popovdne.
Završiti. Sat japanskog jezika završava u 4 poslije podne.
Končiť. Hodiny japončiny končia o 16:00.
In this sentence for class,
Pouk.
specifically means class or lesson, as we have seen, but sat in Croatian and hodini in Slovak, the plural of hodina, mean hour and can also refer to class periods, as mentioned before. For Japanese language, the structure in Slovak is different as it uses a single noun in the genitive case, while Slovenian and Croatian use an adjective-noun combination, both in the genitive case. Respective words used for end have different roots in all three languages, but verbs from the root konč, end, could also be used in all three. At 4, the Slovak phrase o štvrte is closer to the Slovenian
Ob 4
than the Croatian
U 4
in both preposition and case usage. In Croatian, po cannot be used interchangeably with poslije in this context. Thus, the Croatian term remains distinct from the Slovenian
popovdne.
and the Slovak popoludni.
Pouk japonskega jezika se konča ob 4 popovdne.
Sat japanskog jezika završava u 4 poslije podne.
Hodiny japončiny končia o 16:00.
Biti pripravljen.
Ali si pripravljen?
Biti spreman. Jesi li spreman?
Byť pripravený. Si pripravený?
Ali and li are particles indicating a question. Slovak does not use an explicit interrogative particle in simple yes or no questions,
Pripravljen.
and
Pripravený.
are more similar than the Croatian
Spreman.
Ali si pripravljen?
Jesi li spreman?
Si pripravený?
Izklopiti mobilni telefon.
Prosim, izklopi mobilni telefon med poukom.
Ugasiti mobitel. Molim te ugasi svoj mobitel za vrijeme nastave.
Vypnúť mobilný telefón.
Na hodine si, prosím, vypni svoj mobilný telefón.
prosim in Slovenia and prosim in Slovak are similar. As for turn off, different verbs are used in each language.
Mobilni telefon.
Slovenian and
Mobilný telefón.
in Slovak are similar. For during class,
Telefon med poukom.
Slovenian and
Za vrijeme nastave.
in Croatian focus on the concept of instruction versus hour or class time in Slovak.
Prosim, izklopi mobilni telefon med poukom.
Molim te ugasi svoj mobitel za vrijeme nastave.
Na hodine si, prosím, vypni svoj mobilný telefón.
Učbenik. Ona v tem trenutku bere učbenik.
Udžbenik. Ona trenutno čita udžbenik.
Učebnica. Ona teraz číta učebnicu.
All three languages use ona for she. As for at this moment, even when using the same phrase in Slovak, it is quite different.
Čita
Is used both in Croatian and Slovak, but is not common in Slovenian.
Učbenik.
Slovenian and
Učebnica.
Slovak are more similar.
Ona v tem trenutku bere učbenik.
ona trenutno čita udžbenik.
Ona teraz číta učebnicu.
Poslušati. Pozorno poslušaj, kaj reče učitelj.
Slušati. Pažljivo slušaj što učitelj govori.
Počúvať.
Počúvaj pozorne, čo hovorí učiteľ.
Pozorno
Slovenian is closer to
Pozorne
Slovak. As for listen,
poslušaj.
Slovenian and
Slušaj.
Croatian have the same root. Po simply indicates completion. Kai, meaning what, is used in both Slovenian and the Kaikavian dialect of Croatian. You see govori and hovori in Slovak, but in Croatian you can also say kaže, and in Slovak povje, and these are closer to
Reče
Slovenian than govori and hovori.
učitelj.
Učitelj.
Slovenian and Croatian and
učiteľ.
Slovak are all very similar.
Pozorno poslušaj, kaj reče učitelj.
Pažljivo slušaj što učitelj govori.
Počúvaj pozorne, čo hovorí učiteľ.
Abecedan. Ali on piše korejsko abecedon?
Abeceda. Piše li on korejsku abecedu?
Abeceda. Píše korejskú abecedu.
This example sentence in all three languages is very similar, with the exception of Ali and Li in Slovenian and Croatian as question particles, which do not exist in Slovak.
Ali on piše korejsko abecedon?
Piše li on korejsku abecedu?
Píše korejskú abecedu.
Pop. Moja najljubša glasbena zvrst je pop.
Pop. Moja omiljena vrsta glazbe je pop.
Pop. Môj obľúbený žáner hudby je pop.
The possessive pronoun my is very similar in all three languages. In the case of Slovak, is the male form of my. As for favorite, Slovak is closer to Slovenian due to their shared root related to love. The Croatian words for music and genre are more similar to those in Slovenian. In all three languages, third person singular is the same, je. Pop is the same in all three languages.
Moja najljubša glasbena zvrst je pop.
Moja omiljena vrsta glazbe je pop.
Môj obľúbený žáner hudby je pop.
Jazz. Jaz imam raje jazz glasbo kot rock glasbon.
Jazz. Više volim jazz glazbu od rock glazbe.
Jazz. Mám rada jazzovú hudbu viac ako rockovú hudbu.
Croatian has an alternative for prefer, imam radije, that is closer to the Slovenian phrase used here.
Imam raje jazz glasbo.
Slovenian and
Jazz glazbu
Croatian are very similar. The word for than is quite different in all three languages. Likewise,
Rock glasbon.
Slovenian and
rock glazbe.
Croatian are very similar.
Jaz imam raje jazz glasbo kot rock glasbon.
Više volim jazz glazbu od rock glazbe.
Mám rada jazzovú hudbu viac ako rockovú hudbu.
Klasikan. On ne mara poslušati klasične glasbe.
Klasika. On ne voli slušati klasičnu glazbu.
Klasická.
On nerád počúva klasickú hudbu.
Ne mara
Slovenian and
Ne voli
Croatian use similar negation.
Nerád
In Slovak combines not and gladly. As for to listen,
poslušati.
Slovenian and
slušati.
Croatian have the same root.
On ne mara poslušati klasične glasbe.
On ne voli slušati klasičnu glazbu.
On nerád počúva klasickú hudbu.
Lahko.
Ja znam peti.
Umjeti. Ja umijem pjevati.
Môcť. Vedieť. Ja viem spievať.
The Slovene pronoun for I is slightly different. I discuss the word no in the next slide. As for to sing, both Slovenian and Croatian don't have an initial S in the verb. Here we see the various terms in these languages for to know in the sense of knowledge or information, and to know in the sense of having the ability or skill to do something. In Slovenian, znati is to know how to. Vedeti is for knowledge and information. Moci umete is for having the ability. In Croatian, umjeti is having the skill or ability. Znati can be used for both. In Slovak, vedjet can also be used for both meanings, and moc is used for having the ability.
Ja znam peti.
Ja umijem pjevati.
Ja viem spievať.
Pevec. Njen najljubši pevec je Elvis Presley.
Pjevač. Njezin omiljeni pjevač je Elvis Presley.
Spevák. Jej obľúbený spevák je Elvis Presley.
As for the possessive pronoun her,
Njen
Slovene and
Njezin
Croatian are similar, while
Je
Slovak differs. For favorite, both Slovenian and Croatian have elements close to the Slovenian word. For the word singer,
pěvac,
Slovene and
pjevač,
Croatian don't have an S as in Slovak.
Spevák.
As mentioned before, the third person singular is the same in all three languages. Je.
njen najljubši pjevac je Elvis Presley.
njezin omiljeni pjevač je Elvis Presley.
Jej obľúbený spevák je Elvis Presley.
Through these sentences, comparing everyday phrases, we've seen how each language handles common expressions differently and yet maintains a thread of mutual intelligibility that binds them together in the broader Slavic language family. This analysis indicates that, as Slavic enthusiasts would imagine, Slovene and Croatian have a higher degree of linguistic proximity compared to Slovene and Slovak. I hope that this comparison has provided valuable information. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.